Hi, English 101. Welcome to week 3 of class. Time always seems to fly. I was hoping to get back to you guys about a few things for week 3 to help you out. And basically the first thing I want to lead it off with is a few people have mentioned that there were some quizzes on literary terms that had questions about stories we hadn't read yet on the syllabus. I really thank those of you that emailed me that. I will make sure to look through the quiz and give points back to whoever lost points on any question that we haven't covered the story yet. It's pretty amazing to me that nobody's told me that yet. I had to change the syllabus last minute in the fall, and so this is the third quarter that I've taught this class since that, and nobody's said anything about that. So pat yourself on the back if you noticed that, and you can sort of wonder why nobody else said anything. But anyway, ultimately I should be checking, so I appreciate you helping me out. And extra credit, if you already emailed me and let me know that that was a problem, then you'll get extra credit too. So the second thing that I wanted to talk to you about was I'm pretty darn good at getting you back graded your assignments with comments and corrections by the Friday night after it was due. So, I have a due date for myself to get stuff back to you 1 week after yours. And then sometimes, if I'm busy, I have to take, especially when you start handing in your essays, sometimes I have to take that extra grace period that I give you as well. So I don't think I can't even think of a time that it's taken me longer than a week from your grace period. So, yeah, so expect to get back your first response and your précis and your appendix with the comments by Friday. And if for some reason I can't get back to you by Monday, then that would be the latest. If you don't get something by the Friday after, and you're curious, always pop me an email. A lot of times I'll mention in my announcement that I'm taking the grace period, but definitely if you don't get something back by Monday night, because sometimes things do get lost in cyberspace. I have had people tell me that they've sent me something and have showed me a picture of their sent box and it's there, but I print out a copy of my inbox. I don't delete anything until I've printed it all out. So, and I've actually had things not show up. So it's always good to just make sure you get word back from me so that we're on the same page. So this week, besides the reading stories, discussion, quizzes, etc., there's 2 written assignments that you're going to send me via private message. The first one's the response, and hopefully taking a stab at that last time will help. Maybe I'll try and grade those first. I'm going to set aside a block of time tomorrow, Tuesday, to grade stuff. I'll grade the responses first so that I can get those back to you ASAP so you have some feedback. I know sometimes people write their second one before they get the feedback from the first one, and that's kind of tough. But I'll try and get those done first. And then the second thing that you have to write is an assertion. Now, an assertion paragraph is the basic framework, the same framework you're going to follow for a body paragraph of our literary analysis papers that we write. So it's really important that you get this concept down, and I highly suggest you look at the module. There's a specific format that you need to follow for an assertion paragraph. Basically what you do, and a lot of the basis of this is a logical presentation of an argument. So basically the first thing you have to do is make an assertion. Now, an assertion is something that's debatable. So basically, when we read these stories, we're not always going to agree on our interpretations, and that's totally fine. But we need to have some sort of logical interpretation from the text. You don't want something out of left field. You want something that you feel like you have evidence for. So, for instance, some people, when they read The Swimmer, think that Nettie's big problem is that he has an alcohol problem, and that's why he's forgetting things. Now, I think that you could look through the text and find what you would think would be evidence for that. There's lots of conversation about drinking. He talks about needing a drink, etc. So I think that you could make the assertion that Nettie's an alcoholic. Now, not everybody would agree with that and think that there's enough textual evidence for that. So maybe some people think that Nettie's problems have to do more with some mental problems. He's definitely has a memory issue, he seems to have a memory issue. And there's definitely evidence that you can find that would give credence to that point of view. So basically, when I say debatable, it's not like a you're wrong, you're right, I'm right kind of debatable. It's more like it's different perspectives, and all of the perspectives are ones that with textual evidence should be able to be appreciated. So back to the structure. Structure is the key here. You begin your assertion paragraph with an assertion, making a claim, a debatable claim. Okay? Don't make it factual, because that's not what an assertion is. Make sure in that first line or two that you include the name of the author and the title of the story in quotation marks as well, because that's necessary in the beginning of any assignment. So I would set up my first sentence with my assertion that I'm making, my claim I'm making, and I would include the author and the title. So I might say something like, Nettie Merrill in Cheever. I'm all of a sudden having a blank, but I think it's Cheever. Nettie Merrill and Cheever's, I'm going to have to, now this is bothering me that I can't remember if it's Cheever, but Nettie Merrill and John Cheever's, the swimmer, is an alcoholic. That could be my first sentence. What you do next is you are going to be thinking of some textual evidence, but before you include the textual evidence for whatever your claim is, you need to have a context setting. So you have a lead-in phrase that sets the context for that piece of evidence that you're going to use. So I might say something like, in the beginning of the story, the narrator explains, comma, and then have a piece of textual evidence that comes from the beginning of the story. Okay? Or you might want to say, at the Halloran's pool, the narrator explains, blah, 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 blah. So basically, you need your assertion sentence, and then you need a sentence that provides context, that where in the story is this piece of evidence going to be taking place. Then you provide your quote. Please look in the modules of how to do parenthetical citation. You should be quoting the page number. And then after, the key thing that a lot of people miss is because, and this is because they think it's obvious, is you need to tie your evidence to your claim. So if my quote that I take is that Nettie says, I need a drink. Well, how does the quote, I need a drink, how does that tie into my claim that he's an alcoholic? Like I said, that debate, I don't even know whether I really think that, but let's say I'm just going to argue that. What I would do is I would provide one or two sentences of analysis following each quote that directly links that quote to my claim. So I would say something like, it is clear from him needing a drink, not just wanting a drink, that he has an addiction problem, and that this is what's causing his mental confusion. Something like that. So that's just a sentence there. But it's best to have a sentence or two that provides a direct link between your evidence and your claim. Okay? Think of it in a court case. They don't just hold up the evidence of like, here's the gun. They have to explain, how does this gun connect to the claim of somebody being a murderer or whatever. Sorry to use a gruesome example. Okay, so that's the beginning, and then what you're going to do is it's not, I'm going to say it's necessary for this assignment. It's generally good form to have at least two pieces of evidence, and I really want you for this paragraph to limit it to two pieces of textual evidence. And so what you're going to do is you're going to set up after you have your analysis of the first quote, you're going to set up your context for your second piece of evidence, provide the evidence, and then have analysis that follows that. So the basic outline goes, make your claim, context for the first piece of evidence number one, analysis of evidence one that ties it to your claim. Context for evidence two, analysis of evidence two that ties it into your claim. That is the building block of an essay. That is a body paragraph, that is an assertion paragraph in which you're trying, the focus of it is not to retell a story, it is to make a claim and to use evidence and analysis to bolster, to back up that claim. So hopefully that helps. Like I said, it really is good to read through the modules, even listening to me yak about this, but hopefully that kind of provides you insight into what I'm looking for. And I do look for, when I grade paragraphs like this, first thing I'm looking for is content, then I'm looking for structure, then I'm looking for, actually content and structure are really about the same point-wise, and then I'm looking at mechanics. So I really feel like the key reason why structure is so important is because it's going to provide a clear framework for your ideas. If you don't present your ideas in a clear manner that's expected, that's the standard way, then people can get confused, or your claim might not be bolstered enough by what you have to say. So that's what I'm looking for. Definitely pop me a private message if you have any questions. But this is really a good one, the assertion paragraph. It's important to nail down because it's really going to help you when comes time to write your essays. Hope all is well. Feel free again to private message me with any questions, and I really appreciate everyone's participation. Take care.